from your local news leader, this is KTTC News.
Here we go. We are gearing up for a real taste of winter weather in the days to come. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Brock Burgee. First at 5, we are focusing on a stretch of first alert days here at KTTC. There is a lot to talk about, so let's get right to it. Chief Meteorologist Nick Jansen joining us with the details, and a lot to talk about, Nick.
There is a lot to talk about. Hopefully I don't lose my breath here for the next minute 30 because, we have first alert days. The first one we want to talk about is all the impactful snowfall that is on the way coming up for tomorrow. We'll pop up those weather graphics here. Those alert days will be in effect not just tomorrow, but all the way through next Tuesday for the cold weather. First, though, let's talk about the snow that is on the way for tomorrow. Here's what to know. Winter storm likely coming up on Friday. We'll talk about it here in a second. Blizzard warnings now issued in northern Iowa. So we have a lot going on. We have a blast of Arctic air back behind this weather maker here coming up through Sunday, Monday, and then again on Tuesday. Winter alerts here. We have winter storm warnings issued. Those will go in effect later on tonight. That's for all areas in pink. Blizzard warnings new from the National Weather Service. This is down into Iowa, so that does include Mason City. So we're looking at Winnebago, Hancock, Worth, Saragordo counties. The blizzard warnings, blizzard-like conditions, that'll be in effect from 10 a.m. Friday until 6 a.m. coming up on Saturday. So a lot to talk about in terms of weather. And just look at the real estate that is impacted by this storm. And this one's taking a more northerly track. I kind of talked about that yesterday. The chance of a more northerly track would give us a good chance of a lot of snowfall. Right now here, future track radar, everything quiet. It's kind of nice. We saw some sunshine here today. It was cold, but we were able to see some sun. As we look here a little farther out, that low pressure system down near Dodge City, that'll track up through Missouri into Peoria, Illinois, and then into northern Illinois, keeping us in that cold sector, and we'll see that chance for some snowfall. That'll be on the way coming up for tomorrow. As we look outside currently, Lewis and that live camera, everything quiet here tonight. Temperature is at 9. I actually see some clearer sky. We'll increase that cloud cover here tonight. And again, Brock, we are looking at a good chance of getting over 8+ inches of snowfall across most of the KTTC viewing area coming up in your full forecast. We'll dive into just how much snow everyone can expect here through the next about 24, 48 hours. All
right, we will check in with you soon, Nick. Thanks so much. Well, if you do have some travel plans, we want to show you some important information, websites to monitor throughout this storm. They are the 511 sites for Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. You will find the latest winter road conditions from the tri-state DOTs, along with incident reports, traffic cameras, and other travel-related information to help you prepare and know before you go if you do have to travel in the coming days. Well, the forecast means area homeless shelters are busy preparing for more people seeking a warm place to stay. KTTC's Matt Rainier is live in our studio now at 5. Matt, tell us how they are getting ready.
Brock, it's an unfortunate reality for some, but there are many people in the Rochester area that just don't have a permanent place to call home, and several organizations in Rochester are expecting to see an influx of people come through their doors in the coming days. With the mild weather we saw in December, the warming center in Rochester, they only had to use their overflow site twice that month, but since December, this is no longer the case. Rudy Null of the Catholic Charities of Southern Minnesota says he expects that the warming center to be full with at least 45 people during the storm, and its overflow site at the Rochester Salvation Army is expected to see 20 to 25 people. The Rochester Salvation Army did not anticipate the initial increase, but they expect the numbers to be manageable.
Once January hit and the colder weather came about, the 15 to 20 number was a little bit higher than we were anticipated. I don't see us going too much above that, but probably a few more, especially this weekend with the sub-zero temperatures.
The Salvation Army says it's always looking for cold weather clothing items such as coats, men's long sleeve t-shirts, and gloves being at the top of their list. We also got the chance to speak with The Landing, which is another organization that provides aid to people experiencing homelessness, and they said they're also seeing an increase in numbers. We'll take a closer look at that at 6 p.m. Live in the studio, Matt Rainier, KTTC News.
All right, Matt, thank you so much. In the days ahead, we want to remind you, be sure to stay connected with KTTC News and our weather app for the latest first alert weather information and closings. The apps are free to download on your smartphone. Just search KTTC in your phone's app store. We have other news to talk about here tonight at 5. Police are investigating what they are calling a specific threat at the University of Minnesota. According to the school, a 41-year-old man threatened to shoot people on the Twin Cities campus today. 2 western Minnesota school districts also went into lockdown. The suspect was located by law enforcement in Chippewa County. He reportedly has a lengthy criminal history along with some mental health concerns. Things on the U of M campus returned to normal at around 1 this afternoon. Hundreds of people said goodbye today to an 11-year-old boy a week after he was shot to death at his Iowa school. Residents of the small community of Perry packed a Catholic church and spilled over to a nearby church where the funeral for Amir Joliffe was televised. Police say 17-year-old Dylan Butler, armed with a shotgun, killed Joliffe on January 4th and injured 7 other people. Police found Butler in the school of what they say he died from self-inflicted gunshot wound. Turning now to the race for the White House. Just hours before Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis faced off last night in a one-on-one debate in Iowa, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, as we told you here at 5 last night, dropped out of the Republican primary race. It all comes just 4 days ahead of the critical Iowa caucuses. Garrett Hawk has more.
Overnight, a fiery face-off in frozen Iowa, with the state's Republican caucuses now just 4 days away.
You're so desperate.
First. We
You're
have
just
to put
so
Governor.
Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis debating one-on-one in what's likely a race for second place behind the dominant frontrunner here, Donald Trump. Haley and DeSantis launching repeated attacks on each other's records and honesty.
Every time he lies, Drake University, don't turn this into a drinking game because you will be overserved by the end of the night.
We don't need another mealy-mouthed politician who just tells you what she thinks you want to hear just to try to get your vote.
Haley mocking DeSantis for his campaign slide from top Trump rival as her momentum has grown in polls.
If you can't manage a campaign, how are you going to manage a country?
DeSantis belittling Haley's work as UN ambassador, labeling her as a globalist.
You can take the ambassador out of the United Nations, but you can't take the United Nations out of the ambassador.
Despite trailing Trump in Iowa and nationally, both candidates barely criticizing him.
I agree with a lot of his policies, but his way is not my way.
He also promised record deportations. Donald Trump deported fewer people than Barack Obama did when he was president.
Earlier Wednesday, the GOP field's most consistent critic of the former president, Chris Christie, announced he was suspending his long-shot campaign.
Anyone who is unwilling to say that he is unfit to be president of the United States is unfit themselves to be president of the United States.
Christie was also caught on a hot mic backstage discussing the race.
DeSantis called me, petrified.
And making this comment, presumably about Haley.
She's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
Skipping the debate in favor of a Fox News town hall, Donald Trump seizing on that comment.
I happen to believe that Chris Christie is right. That's one of the few things he's been right about, actually.
All right, let's talk about something positive for you here tonight at 5. A Lewiston Altura student is one step closer to becoming an internationally recognized writer. Let's take a look. There she is. 12-year-old Sarah Hennessy is advancing her way through the Lions International Peace Essay Contest. The 6th grader has won the local and district level competitions, and her essay is now being judged on the international level. Sarah's work was chosen for its originality, organization of the essay itself, and portrayal of the contest theme, which is Dare to Dream. The international competition results will be announced in February. Congratulations and good luck wishes to Sarah. A reminder, this weekend you can join the fight against cancer right here in Rochester. The 70th annual Eagles Cancer Telethon kicks off at 8 p.m. on Saturday. It's going to continue through 4 p.m. on a Sunday. You can join us in person at the Mayo Civic Center. It's going on regardless of the weather, or you can just turn in your TV if that's more comfortable for you to help raise money for cancer research happening right here in Minnesota. We hope you will join us. Still ahead for you here tonight at 5. We're going to check in with our Washington correspondent on Donald Trump's latest legal proceedings, and later, counting those calories. A new study sheds light on what we are eating between our meals. And you could call it the calm before the storm. Not too bad out there today. The sun was out for a bit. Nick is back to tell us, though, when things are going to really start to change. He has your full First Alert forecast after the break. Donald Trump was back in the courtroom today, this time over a civil fraud case. We are going to turn now to KTTC's Washington correspondent, Molly Martinez. Molly, we always appreciate having you here on our 5 o'clock news. Can you tell us, first of all, former president, he gave some remarks today. So what did he have to say, Molly?
Hey, Brock, great to see you. Well, closing arguments just wrapped in this case a few minutes ago, and Donald Trump did get a chance to address the court. He said that the only fraud in this civil fraud case is against him and that he should be paid damages for having to go through all of this rigmarole in the middle of election season. He also went after the judge a little bit and said that the judge has his own agenda, and once again, he called this a political witch hunt. Now, to take a few steps back, this is a $370 million civil fraud trial. Donald Trump is being accused of inflating the value of his New York real estate in order to get more favorable loans, which would ultimately save his enterprise money down the road. If he is found guilty, he would have to pay those damages, and he would also be barred from practicing any sort of real estate in New York, which is, of course, how he rose to prominence. So the judge just heard closing arguments, like I mentioned, and he's expected to come out with a ruling next month.
So you mentioned taking a break from the campaign trail for that. Let's talk a little bit more about election 2024, specifically with the caucuses in Iowa coming up. We have heard about dropouts and some last-minute pushes, Molly, ahead of Monday's big day. Can you catch us up to speed there?
Yes, the crowded pool is getting a little less crowded. Chris Christie dropping out last night, saying this is not the path forward for him to be the nominee. If you remember, this is not the first time that Chris Christie has had an unsuccessful presidential run. He also ran in 2016. He really postured himself as the anti-Trump candidate. But now that he's out of the race, it gives a more clear path for candidates like Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis to sort of plow ahead. Nikki Haley has spent a ton of money in Iowa ahead of this caucus, $15 million last month alone in television ads. So she's really doing a blitz in Iowa and hoping for some momentum that she can carry with her next week into New Hampshire.
All right, KTTC's Washington correspondent Molly Martinez joining us tonight. Molly, thank you so much.
Here's your first alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Jansen.
All right, we want to get right to it, but you have some graphics full of color in terms of watches, warnings. Any color not on that map?
Yeah, there is. And something that would resemble severe weather, like in the spring.
Okay.
Right? None of those colors.
We'll be grateful for that.
Right, so there's no yellow or anything like that in any of these graphics coming up. Could be a lot of snowfall through the next day or so. It's been such a quiet winter. Things are changing very quickly here. We have alert days Friday through Tuesday, and we got to kind of map our way through this forecast here because there's a lot going on. Again, we haven't had anything pretty much all winter long, and now we get it all at once here. So alert day is in effect. The first alert day will be on Friday. Heavy snowfall likely tomorrow. We already have blizzard warnings issued in northern Iowa for Friday. Back behind that weather maker, a blast of Arctic air Sunday, really late Saturday, extending through Tuesday. Wind chills anywhere from 25 to 35 degrees below zero. So we have the snow, and then we'll have the cold weather back behind it. Our current alerts, we have winter storm warnings. Actually, everyone has a winter storm warning, even areas in blizzard warning criteria for tomorrow. There will be a winter storm warning going into effect later on tonight at about midnight. So pretty much everyone has a winter storm warning. Some areas do have blizzard warnings, mainly looking at northern Iowa, so that does include Mason City. 4 of our counties in northern Iowa. We have Winnebago, Hancock, Worth, and Cerro Gordo counties. That blizzard warning will be in effect from 10 a.m. Friday until 6 a.m. Saturday. Now, I will say, areas in pink could still have some blizzard-like conditions, especially outside of the city limits. So we're talking about if you're traveling Highway 52, maybe you're going down into Fillmore County, getting down into northern Iowa, say Winnebago County, you could run into the chance for some blizzard-like criteria there too. Just look at how wide and how long of warnings we have here, all the way back into central Nebraska, all the way through Iowa. Iowa just on Tuesday, everyone had a weather alert. Everyone has a weather alert again on Friday. Same with Wisconsin and in northern Illinois and here in Minnesota. So a lot of real estate impacted by this low. The center of the low down to our southwest, we're starting to get some snowfall going near Lincoln, Nebraska, Omaha, and then eventually into western Iowa. Our snow chance holds off until probably after about midnight here tonight. Here's a nice little weather timeline for us. Some light snowfall gets going from about 3 a.m. until 6 a.m. That early morning commute, probably looking at about 0 to 2 inches of snowfall. It'll be from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. when we pick up the bulk of our snowfall accumulations. And I think we could have some periods of some heavy snowfall through, say, probably mid to late afternoon. We could have some reduced visibility because wind starts to pick up about 25 to 35 miles per hour through this time period from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 4 to 9 inches of snowfall expected to fall across the region here through that time period. We'll track out all the snow here in Future Track tonight. Yes, it shows snow by 10:30. I just don't know if that'll make it all the way to the ground just quite yet. Better chance for snow by 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. Heaviest early on, staying down to our south and southeast, probably closer to Decorah, Waterloo, even towards about Madison. We fast forward into the afternoon. Notice that dark blue and some strong northeasterly wind, and we could have gusts by that point in time, maybe say 30, 35 miles per hour. Snow continues to stick around. This is 6 o'clock. And then notice the snow all the way until about midnight on Saturday. We could still see some light snowfall across the region. Okay, let's talk about totals, because I think totals, we could see a really wide range of snowfall amounts here coming up. And I wanted to just show just how wide we could maybe see, look at 10 plus inches of snowfall for all these areas in red, from Lincoln, Omaha, Des Moines, Davenport, up near Milwaukee, and yes, the red does get into southeast Minnesota and northern Iowa. Looking here locally, I think a lot of areas along and east of 52, 6 to 10 inches of snowfall will definitely be possible. 7 to 11 in Winona, La Crosse 9 to 12, Prairie du Chien 8 to 12. Lighter amounts I do think will be along I-35. You're still, though, looking at probably 5 plus inches of snowfall, really due to how dry our air is. Okay, our temperatures are cold. It's a fluffy snow. It's able to accumulate a lot quicker. So 6 to 10 in Rochester, Red Wing, 7 to 11, Decorah, Preston, Mason City, 5 to 9. So again, most of us, it's almost looking like a guarantee at this point in time that we get 5 plus inches of snowfall. It's just that high end that I do think some areas could get over 10. We'll talk about travel impacts here. Light snow early in the morning. So if you have to commute, really all day tomorrow will be treacherous on the roads. The worst time probably from 11 a.m. until close to 8 p.m., especially in rural areas. That's where we could have some of those blizzard-like conditions. Then after this, we're not done with the weather. We still have first alert days coming up by Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Look at the wind chills back behind this low. We're dropping wind chills maybe say 30, 35 degrees below zero. So it'll be cold coming up Sunday, Monday, and again on Tuesday. Tonight, overnight lows at 12. Snow early on Friday, so the snow gets going by about 3 a.m. in the morning. Your 7-day forecast here, alert days in effect. Friday for the snow, Saturday for travel conditions, keeping that alert day in effect. And those temperatures are dropping down quick. By Sunday morning, we're at 10 below. Monday morning, we're at 15 below. And temps pretty much all week long next week, Brock, will stay down into the low teens and upper single digits. So a lot there. If you're in Rochester watching us, Olmsted County, most of the county will see about 6 to 10 inches of snowfall. If you're east of 52, it's almost a lock to get over 6 plus inches.
We need the moisture. We could do without the travel impacts.
Right. And unfortunately with this one, we get pretty much everything.
Yeah.
We get the snow, the wind, and the cold weather behind it.
All right. We'll keep an eye on it, and we know you will. Thank you so much, Nick. Let's check in now with Caitlin with a look at what's coming up at 6.
It's something a lot of us have remembered amid high inflation, how important that emergency fund is. In tonight's Watching Your Wallet, we're hearing from an expert about rebuilding your emergency fund. Tonight at 6. Brock will be right back.
It's time to talk calories. How many should you consume in a day varies from person to person. An average adult generally requires around 2,000 calories a day. That is according to the FDA. But a recent study suggests that some may be blowing many of those calories on those hard to pass up snacks. In tonight's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has a look at the research and some healthy snack choices that won't hinder your health goals.
From chips to crackers and sweets, when an afternoon pick-me-up is needed, you may just grab what's easy.
The way we snack is just kind of these episodic little grazings throughout the day. and we never really think about how much they actually add up.
Chris Taylor with Ohio State University is senior study author of a new study that suggests many adults consume up to 25% of their daily calories from snacks.
Because we're looking at a fairly substantial amount of our calories. It's a considerable source of added sugar, saturated fat, sodium that we're getting in the day that also don't come with a lot of nutrients.
So that your snacks don't derail your health goals, Taylor says it's important to plan for them just like you would a meal.
Having hummus on hand that I can then use as a quick snack instead of having to rely on some foods that may not contribute as much to my total nutrient needs.
Other healthy snacks include fruits and veggies, nuts and nut butters, as well as seeds. And Taylor says to beware of stealth calories in some beverages.
When we get a blenderized coffee drink or drinking a sugar sweetened beverage, those calories we don't often think about when we drink them as snacks.
For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
Taylor says when going over health goals with your patients, it's also important for dietitians and other healthcare professionals to ask not only about what is consumed at your mealtime, but also during those snacks. So there can be a clearer picture of how many calories are being consumed each and every day. All right, Miller Lite wants you to help stay on track if you are abstaining from alcohol during what is called Dry January. The beer brand is actually launching a non-alcoholic beer mint. The company says the mints have the same great taste as Miller Lite without the alcohol. They start out minty, then we are told the taste of Miller Lite emerges as you chew them. Does that actually sound good? I don't really think so. The beer mint goes on sale January 12th at MillerLiteBeerMints.com. And just in case they sell out before you can snag a tin if they sound appealing, a second beer mint second beer mint is set to drop on January 19th. We'll be right back.
Something unique from Monica, Joey, Chandler, Rachel, and Phoebe, and Ross, can't forget about him, will be there for you. A little theme song. Good, I like it, if you have enough money.
Yeah, the Hanson's Auction House is placing 2 original scripts of Friends, the show, under the hammer. Officials there have put the guide price starting at $760. Now, the episodes, and they always start, Nick, with The One. The episodes, when you look at the title of them, The One. So it's The One with Ross's Wedding Part 1 and Part 2. They were filmed in London. When the work was done, the scripts were actually thrown in the trash, later to be picked up by an employee, put in a drawer, and forgotten for many years.
Look at
so
that.
There you go. You could have them if the price is right.
Not right for me.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight at 5.